The time is now for regional governments to develop and implement disruptive and forward-thinking program concepts, policies, and platforms that fast-track the development of a Caribbean technology economy. At the core of this, my friends, transformation must be the sustainable maximization of our most highly valued assets. You know them, and I know them. Our people, our ideas, our geography, our climate, yes, our climate, and our culture.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our fourth edition of the CLIP Speakers Series. My name is Crystal Legrand, again with you from the Caribbean Center of Excellence for Sustainable Livelihoods. I am your moderator for this evening, and for this evening, we will be delving into the topic of resilient people, resilient Caribbean. And I'm joined this evening by the brilliant Miss Lisa Dublin, who will be sharing her story and other valuable tools for all of us to become more resilient as a people here in the Caribbean. The Caribbean Youth Livelihood Internship Program, better known as CLIP, is part of the Strengthening Disaster Resilience in the Eastern and Southern Caribbean. The project designed and implemented by the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology. CLIP has been conceptualized as mainly a virtual internship program which fosters pathways for professional development and employment in areas of science and technology for recent graduates of tertiary academic institutes in the Caribbean. For a maximum of 9 months, the CLIP focuses on assisting youth whose employment opportunities have been negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and other factors. CLIP's implementation is made possible by the generous support of the American people through the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. But before we delve straight into our presentation for this evening, we would love to kickstart our presentations or our evening and our session with a poll. And so if you have been with us before, we've been sharing some polls to just gauge what information you already know around this topic. And so let me pull up our first question for this evening. And it's a two-part question. The first question states, what kind of support or resources do you believe would be most beneficial for young individuals in the Caribbean to enhance their personal resilience and well-being? Please select all that you believe apply to helping these young persons. The options you have here on the list is mental health counseling and emotional support, stronger spiritual guidance, educational and vocational training opportunities, mentorship and guidance from regional experts, or access to sports and recreational activities. So please select the options that are most relevant to you, that you believe that young persons would need to become more resilient. Then we go on to our next question. So our question is, what would deter you from seeking out support of mental health professionals? And please, again, select all that may apply. So is your fear of what others may say, or they may think that you might be crazy? They will pump you up with medications and make you feel like a zombie, or prayer and my faith is enough, and I do not need that. So you don't need professional help because prayer and your faith is enough. Or you believe that they are not readily available and private professionals are very expensive. And last but not least, you believe that the stigma and impact on your reputation would be tarnishing. So please select the options that you believe are relevant, and we will share the results of this poll at the end of our presentation today. So let us welcome Ms. Lisa Dublin. She is a speaker writer and life coach. She's originally from the Caribbean island of St. Lucia, and she lives in Edmonton, Alberta, with her husband and 3 children. She coaches, teaches, and speaks online and in person, conducting workshops, one-on-one sessions, and speaking sessions to audience about how to speak, lead, and live with confidence. Lisa holds an MBA from the Australian Institute of Business and an MA from the University of Alberta. She is also a performance poet and author, and her favorite pastimes are reading and running. And so without any delay, please help me welcome Miss Lisa Dublin.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you to the organizers. Can everybody hear me okay? Everybody can hear me fine? Yeah? Okay, awesome. So hi, everybody. All right. Thank you so much to the organizers for asking me to speak. I am so excited. I had to coach myself before and say, okay, yes, you're excited to be speaking to your people because I usually do this here in Canada, but still, Lisa, give a system, give strategy, just calm yourself down and the energy is going to come through. So I am super excited. The last couple years since COVID, I think have been both a blessing and, it's been tough for everybody, but some good has come out of it. And so I have a couple objectives for today. And without further ado, I would like to share my screen. And I said to the organizers before we began that I wanted to begin with something that would interest you, I think, and perhaps give you a reason why I'm here today. So I'm a speaker, a trainer, a life coach, and I'm a writer. So I'm actually in the process of publishing a book. But here's what, and I didn't reveal this before. You know how in the Caribbean, we never like to tell people how much money we make, yes or no? So you all need to talk back to me. Let's make this interactive. And I really want you to pick my brain tonight. That's why the organizers hired me, that I can help to make our experience as Caribbean people even better. But you guys, you know how we just never talk about, we don't talk about money. We don't talk about politics. What else don't we talk about? No, we talk about politics. What am I saying? We don't talk about how much money we make. We don't talk about sexual orientation and perhaps religion, something like that in the Caribbean. But here's what I've realized, that if as a speaker and as somebody who is walking the walk, I need to be able to say certain things. So, and with receipts to prove it, since the pandemic started, I have made over 100K in my business as a speaker, a trainer, and a life coach. Okay. 100K US, even though I'm in Canada. And we don't talk about mental health. That is so right, Crystal. That's the other thing that we just sweep under the carpet, right? And so I don't even think I've ever said out loud in my own speaking within my country, online and so on, what it has been. But this is a true statistic. So I'm on Stripe and so on, so I'm able to prove it. And I want you to know that most of this was done online. Okay, everybody, did you hear what I said? Are you interested now? Do you want to know more? Tell me yes if you want to know more. Type in the chat, yes, if you want to know more, now that you know what I'm going to be talking about. In my business as a speaker, a trainer, and a life coach, I have made about 100K. So this is since 2020, end of 2020 to now, right? I have made that amount of money. How have I done it? I want to tell you my story today. I want to inspire you to, I know that you're working because you're part of this internship. I love the focus of this series. It's not just people without options. It's people who want to expand options, who already have education, who already have a sense of what the world is like to try to make them better. And that's exactly where I was when the pandemic hit. So let's just go to the topic for today: resilient Caribbean, resilient people. And I have a speech that I published, I think about a month ago on YouTube, and my links will be there at the end, where I speak about the resilience of being an immigrant here, because it is such a big part of how I've been able to kind of make sense of my new world to be able to make it work for me. All right, so let's move on. And so let's look at the objectives for today. I want to be able to tell you how it is possible to be part of the work from anywhere economy and industry. This organization is so forward thinking. It is all like, I was just amazed when we were doing like the run through. One person is in one part of the world, another person just traveled from North America to come back to the Caribbean, all over, you guys. And it just proved the thing that I believe with all my heart, that we live in a borderless world. And if you, wherever you are in the Caribbean, where I'm from 238 square miles, which is St. Lucia. If you can believe that, believe you me, you are setting yourself up for success. I also want to be able to tell you today some strategies for becoming part of the digital economy. And you might say, oh, I don't like computers. Oh, I don't like technology. Excuse me. You don't have a choice. If you want to be able with ease and to put less pressure on the environment, the climate, and everything, if you want to be able to channel all of these resources, you will want to get into the technology and learn how to use it to your advantage. We also want to discuss strategies for balancing life in order to thrive as an entrepreneur. And then lastly, I want to be able to answer as many questions. The one thing that I want you to know about me, if I don't know, I'm going to tell you that I don't know, okay? But what I will do is perhaps follow up with you later on, hoping that we can connect in all sorts of ways. I'm all over social media to be able to answer those questions that perhaps I might not be comfortable with. But I want you to, like, here's the one thing I've noticed about us Caribbean people, and I have had to learn this the hard way. We don't show up. We let other people's voices be heard, and we let the questions stay inside of us. I want you to ask questions today, okay? I want you to listen, you're doing this for yourself. You're doing this for your future. So don't be afraid. Ask the questions, even the hard ones, the ones that you don't understand, whatever you don't agree with, that we can definitely explore this topic of what I like to call the digital economy. What do I mean by that? Let's look at what the digital economy is, okay? With an internet connection, ladies, gentlemen, I have learned to make an impact while making an income. So I'm writing a book called I'm Not Going Back to the Office. That's the name of my book, right? Just kind of getting it together. And I'll never forget March 18th. I'm going to rush through this. Let me watch my time. Ms. Legrand, you can keep me on time, please. I wouldn't mind that at all. Thank you. Anybody? Yeah. When we were sent home in March 2020, I thought two things to myself. I was like, oh my God, I am going home to sleep. Did anybody feel that way? I work at my day job at the University of Alberta. I'm a graduate administrator there. And I don't really like that kind of job. I'm meant to do these kinds of things that I'm doing now. This excites me and brings me joy, and it helps me to do my aim and my calling, okay? And the second thing that I was like, oh my goodness, this might just be the opportunity that I've been looking for to do something different, okay? And the minute we were sent home, and I realized that I no longer had to do this half hour or 1 hour commute, that I could simply go from my bedroom on the top floor to the basement. I was like, let's go, Lisa. You do not know when they're going to call you back. So you better start to work. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I did and why I find myself here today with viable options, even better options than even working where I am right now. What is the digital economy? I consider myself part of it. And when you realize how much it's worth, you will want to be part of it, okay? The digital economy is that economic activity that results from billions of everyday online connections among people, businesses, devices. The backbone is the hyperconnectivity. When you think of hyperconnectivity, it means borderlessness. And as a coach, the first thing I always work on is our mind. So I want you to imagine a world where not only by plane can you go from Jamaica, St. Lucia, the Bahamas, and find yourself in Canada, find yourself in Norway, in Switzerland, in Africa, but by the click of the mouse, okay? You can literally find yourself in these places as well. When you realize and validate that thought, then you set yourself up to be able to collect and to appreciate and go after all the opportunities that are well around all of us, even in the Caribbean, or even if you find yourself in like North America, whatever. I'm telling you, even in the Caribbean, I already had business and I was already able to make money. And I'll show you some of the things that I did, okay? So the digital economy, folks, it is now worth $4.5 trillion. $4.5 trillion. But here's the thing. Do you know most of that money is obviously concentrated in the first world? And it is in large part due to resources. It's also due to a certain extent to our inability to leverage that digital economy for our benefit. We don't know what's available because we're not exposed. We don't think it's valid. I always point to the example of what has happened in the Philippines, you guys. In the Philippines, do you know what they're now known for? They are known for virtual assistants. You tell me, in which Caribbean island can it not be that if we go after it, that we don't become a country or a region that is known for producing virtual assistants who can make upwards of $7 an hour? Why can we not do it? A lot of Caribbean people are very educated. We are more literate than a lot of the world. Not only that, you guys, the one other thing that the Philippines has going for it, they have English as well as Filipino as their national languages. Tell me, most of the Caribbean, we have a large part of the Caribbean that is English speaking. Why can we not do it? What's missing, I think, in our case is the will, the political will, as I can hear Mia Motley saying, in terms of climate change. In terms of this, I don't even know how developed our vision is to know that this is a viable thing that we can do. We can lessen on that carbon footprint because it's not even a factor. We can increase GDP a lot quicker because of those very quick transactions that are bigger and bigger as you get more and more into the digital economy. I'm saying that if you want to, and if you have the desire and you expose yourself, you have options, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on. And so I want to talk about a little bit about my journey. I'm going to try to do that in about 3 minutes. So as I said, I went home with COVID. I was happy to be home and not to have to go to work. I am not meant for the office. I hate open floor spaces. I don't like people talking in my ears. I am a content creator. I have a mind like you listening here today. I know 1,000 people like me in the Caribbean. 1,000 people who are like square pegs in round holes because we feel like the only way to make a living is to go to the 9 to 5. And it isn't. If you have any gift of the gab, as I do, speaking, if you can think, if you can write, if you can coach, if you have like even bookkeeping, accounting, anything that can be done remotely, you have a choice in this economy. And so what happened is I was like, wait a minute. This is what I've been praying for my entire life. Ever since I came here in 2013, and obviously you have to do the immigrant thing. I have worked at Walmart. Even while I was working at the university, I didn't even know if they would keep me. So I was an overnight stalker at Walmart at the same time. So I've done a lot of these tasks. On the other hand, I have been on national TV in my country. So I have a tradition and a record of, I've lectured at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. So I have run the gamut, the two extremes. And so now I'm like, what do I want to do? And I had already begun doing certain things like changing my whole mindset, getting coached, whatever. So it put me in the right place at the right time when the pandemic hit and I was home with my children. My husband was still going to work. I began to learn and to read. I began to see what there was to see. I began to go online to start my lives. I started a video blog called Basement Chronicles. And incidentally, I hope you go subscribe. I just started it as a podcast this week only. So now it's a podcast available wherever podcasts are, and it's called Basement Chronicles. So please subscribe to it. It's going to be good, right? And I began to do those things and to get a lot more recognition online and realize You mean to tell me, sitting at my desk, all life required of me was to learn, to be focused, to put off the distractions, and to do something so well that people would pay for me? Let's go. So I got certified as a coach. I got certified as a speaker because I'd already done speaking courses. I went to Caramac in Trinidad, in Jamaica as well. And I did a whole bunch of things that I put together because I began to see my calling. And I'll tell you more about it. And slowly after getting, I started offering a course called Speak with Confidence. I have done 6 cohorts, and I'm about to take it out into the communities and the business places to teach people how to speak with confidence and open doors for you. That's part of the reason that I am here tonight. And that has paid off to the point where I got certified as a coach and began to coach professional and executive women how to be able to that's exactly it, speak, lead, and live with confidence. So I have found my thing online. I have only had 2 clients in Canada. Okay. I have clients as far as Saudi Arabia. A lot of them are Caribbean immigrants and who have gone off to other places and are now looking for support. I log in at 2:00 in the morning if I have to, because my client in Saudi Arabia, that one in particular, that's the time that she has. You guys, from my basement. I'm now in my basement as well. Now, I want you to start thinking about yourself. I see you guys here tonight, and I hope you're excited. What do you have to offer the world? What do you have to say? What can you do at such a high level, ladies and gentlemen, that people are going to pay you for it? So let's move on a little bit. I have 6 points that I want to present very quickly, and we'll move on to the question. I'm so excited for Q&A because that is where you really learn, because it's according to what you want to know, okay? Right. Yeah, remote work rocks. Yes. Yes, Miss Gordon, for sure. Here are the biggest lessons that I've learned since beginning my online journey in 2020. Here's the first one. Can you imagine, those of you who have kids here, the moms in particular, would you want to stay home? Would you want to have a job where from the comfort of your home, you can change the world and still take care of your children and still see about the dog and still see what, and say to them, like, for now, I have 3 sons. They're 15, 14, and 9. And, you know, I'm working from home and I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys need to go get something to eat, clean up the house, whatever. And I would be worried if I were at the office and wondering, you know, and I know they need independence and all of that, but I'm saying to you, what kind of life do you want? That's where it starts from. The work from anywhere model is an option for you today, right where you are, wherever you are. So it is for the kind of person who's looking for options. If you want to develop multiple sources of income, I set up a client who she has a really great job at a ministry, a government institution, but she's a great accountant and bookkeeper, and she wanted to set up something, and we have done it, and she's working online with people she does not even know. It's possible. There are several businesses that are entirely remote. And these are, when I tell you, that's a fraction of them. There's a whole long list. I didn't have the time to put them in. I really want to speak about the ones that I know coaching. There are 1,000 resilient people. And if you're resilient, if you are perceptive, if you love people, and you want to learn the skill of coaching, you can make a lot of money. The coaching business today is $1 billion industry. Speaking online, as I told you, a lot of my speaking gigs are online, and I make money doing that. Copywriting, virtual bookkeeping business, customer service representatives, all you have options. The reason in the Caribbean we think that the only options are the government jobs, which are limited, and not just limited in terms of spots, also limited that if you get to the top of your grade, there's no further that you can go. When you are an entrepreneur, there's no cap on how much money you can make. It's all up to you. And there is such power, especially as a woman, even though I'm married and my husband and I share everything, it has such power in being able to make my own money and to help provide for my family, okay? So this is the first point. You guys, my second point, you might think that it's a woo point. I like to talk about woo stuff, but here's the thing. If you don't want this, it's not going to work. And so the point that I want to talk about is desire. And this is one of the books that changed my life. I read it very early in the pandemic. Please, there's a list that I'm going to provide to you in a little while with all the books. But let me just quickly say that Think and Grow Rich is one of these seminal books that everybody, mostly everybody that I know, talks about as the book that stretched their mind to be able to make money. I still, perhaps once, 3 or 4 times a week, as soon as I wake up and I'm doing my ablutions, getting ready to come downstairs to the basement to work, I just put on an audible chapter of that book because there's something that it does to expand your mind. In that book, Napoleon Hill speaks about desire, and he says, a burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. I like to say it this way. If you want something, start to think about it. For years, I've been thinking about a job that I didn't have to do in the office. So when the opportunity came, Lisa was ready because she had been thinking about it. The desire was that deep. Do not stop until desire is red hot in your mind and in your heart. What I mean by that, it's almost tangible. It's almost like, and I hope you, like, I'm a Caribbean person, so everything shows on my face, doesn't it, right? Do not stop until you feel what you feel so much that you can't do nothing else. For me, I'm working from anywhere. I do not need to be in an office to make even more money. And then there's this poem. I think I'll probably skip it because of lack of time, but let me see if I can quickly go into it. Let's just go. So there's this poem that I love, and it tells you about what you're going to demand on life. Oh, Giovanna says she's currently reading this book. Awesome. So I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is just an employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why? You must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire. A menial's hire is like working at Walmart, okay? I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life would have willingly paid. So the question is, what are you going to ask of life? What do you want? That's where it begins. Let me give you a quick example, and then I'm going to move on. When you're an immigrant, you just go with the flow, okay? You don't try to customize life. I have 3 sons, and I've always been like, when you come here, the suburban dream is to have like a 3-bedroom house, okay? And a garage, and like, but I'm like, I have 3 children. Which one of them is going to share? That's not my dream. I want more of life. And even though I was an immigrant, because I had that desire that I made my own, we ended up getting a house with 5 bedrooms. Yep. 5 bedrooms. And if I had just settled for the dream of what people were saying was possible, I know that it would not have been possible. It starts from what you want. That's my entire point, and I hope you get it today, okay? Let's move on quickly. Right, so I want to talk about working and pursuing your calling. I came up with this formula. Your calling is your big why plus your gifts and your talents. Ladies, gentlemen, what can you offer the world that you already know? I can show you how to speak. I can coach you. I can show you how to lead with confidence. I don't need to show you how to climb a tree because I cannot climb a tree. When I talk about my big why, we have lost business before, so I know the sting of loss. And so for me, my big why is when somebody connects with me, I become the Jonathan to your David. I want you to win. Like, why should you not win? And I feel it so deeply that it forces me to use my gifts of speaking and writing and the talents of being analytical to coach, to produce products and services that I'll show you some of what I've done before. This is a formula that if you want it, you can have it. What's your big why? Why do you exist? And then you match that with your gifts and talents. Let me tell you, oh, yes, I am a value creator. Thank you, Brittany. So you guys, let me give you an example of when that doesn't work. Somebody has a beautiful voice, but that person has no deeper sense of wanting to do anything big with that gift. And so they're just singing at karaoke, whatever, and they just never do anything with it. My brother, my younger brother, can make cheesecake so well that people pay him 150 EC dollars for a cheesecake, okay? He's that good at it, but he has no will to do it. He only does it at Christmas time. He has nothing behind that talent. What I'm saying to you, when you find your calling, I could do this and every single day. I could wake up and be here, okay? Because one, I want you to win. Two, I'm using my gift to do it, and we continue. So that is how you come up with products and services that you can bless the world with. Let's move on. And so this last thing right here is it's either in Think and Grow Rich, or I heard it from Bob Proctor. He says that the level of your compensation depends on three things: the need for what you do, how good you are, your mastery of it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. Even though there are 1,000 speakers, you have to know that not every speaker will be you. If you are a writer, you have your tribe, you have your audience. Nobody does it like you. And that is the difficulty in replacing you, that individuality. There's a word I love to use, and that is inimitable. Inimitable means difficult to be imitated. And when you combine your big why with your gifts and your talents, you guys, you get products and services that you offer the world that make that number 3, make you able to get paid. Okay. I hope you have questions for me when we're done so we can talk about that. Okay. So we have just a couple more points, just 3 more points, and we're good. So you have to pursue knowledge. Do you know that there's a free university out there? Guess how much it cost me? It cost me literally now $12.59. Before it was totally free. That's YouTube. All life requires of you, if you're just starting and you don't have much money, all life requires of you is to find an internet connection, go to the library, sit your butt in the chair, stop scrolling, and just learn. One thing at a time. That's all life requires of you. Sometimes when it's difficult for me to focus, I say that to myself to center myself back. You could be in an office, Lisa, but all life is saying to you, learn that knowledge so that you can repackage it in a way that your people and your tribe can understand. What are you waiting for? What is easier than that? Okay? Yes, we are in the information era. So that is one thing. Podcasts are another way. Digital libraries. I had a client in Tanzania, you guys. She somehow found a way to get into the digital library here in Alberta. She has a membership. She can borrow audiobooks online, borrow digital books out, and be reading. Okay, I don't know if that is kosher, but what I'm saying is that there's a will, there's a way. Okay? You don't have to have much money now to start. So why I say YouTube costs me $12.59 now is that I've upgraded to the premium to kind of save some time so that I don't have any ads, because I'm serious about learning, because learning is getting me places. Okay? Get mentors, ask questions. I have texted, messaged some of the biggest people that I know on social media, and guess what? They have texted me back. Not AI. They literally answer you, because not many people reach out and they want to share their knowledge. Go ahead, ask questions, not because from the Caribbean means that you don't have a voice. Okay? So as I was saying, the systematic way, don't get frazzled when you want to learn something new. Don't get frazzled. Learn one thing at a time. Apply what you learn quickly, remove all distractions, as I said, and lastly, spend time thinking. We don't do that. We're always busy. Take time to think. I keep on saying to people, keep on thinking until you find a thought that works for you. And it works in a situation to get you out or to produce a new idea. That's where it all comes from. Let's move on quickly. So these are the must reads. Okay, I'll leave this list with our organizers. But for me, some of the most important books of my life are there. The Bible, clearly every day. I don't even care. God is the bedrock for me. And he's the standard of excellence. So for me, part of letting my light shine in the world is to see that you can do it from the force and the energy that comes from knowing God, right? The fourth dimension is a book that takes you past the law of attraction, past all of these things that point to the universe, and they put your focus back on God in that way. And so here are a couple others, you guys. Atomic Habits changed my life and made me consistent. Master of One helped me to whittle down what I offered to the things that I did the most and the best. And then these others are very good as well. So you can take a look at that. Let's move on, okay? So you know what? I told you that I made 100K, right? The way I did that was to fail so many times. Let me tell you, and you can laugh if you want to. I really don't care. That's fine. That's part of the joy of being an entrepreneur. You won't just get it right. And I only have like 2 or 3 more minutes, okay? These courses, I just tried to sell this course. I got 2 people. I got 2 people in the course. And so I ended up spending more for the flyer than I did for people coming into the course, because they came in because they had some tangential way of getting in. I had offered them some other thing, and so they didn't really pay for the course. That's the honest truth. Yeah, so this is, you see the date? This is this year, okay? This course I put out, I think, at the beginning of last year. Oh my gosh, I did all the video, everything. Crickets. Hear what I say? Do I give up? Do I not try? Do I hide my head? No, I don't, because the entrepreneur journey, it goes up and down. No rocks without river. What are you talking about? This course was, this is the funny thing about life, you guys. This course I offered for 25 US. Crickets. 1 person bought the course. Even the people who I said, just give it a try. Nobody finished my course, okay? But look at this. Look at this, okay? In the process of trying new things, I came upon my 2 products that work for me that have made me the 100K. My coaching, right? And you notice my voice dropped because now we're getting serious. My coaching program, How to Get Unstuck for women, it has been going for since beginning of 2021 or end of 2021. That one. This program, Speak with Confidence, this was the same time I did the Speak and Sell. That is my most popular program. People come to it. So in the process of failing, I won. And you know what happened between winning, failing, and winning? Guess what? I was just trying new things. When I started, because I'm in my gifting all the time, trying to find what work. I did this, I think this was 20 US, and I did get people for this one, right? Reclaim Your Sexy Self. I was just trying things. Then I had a To All the Girls conference. I ran it for 2 years until I realized it was just unprofitable to do. What am I saying to you? The point is, have the confidence to step out and try. We like to buffer. Buffering is, I'm going to do all the reading, listen to all the podcasts, all the videos, and I will never get to actually executing something, even if it's a failure for people to try. How are you going to get past the failures if you don't try? Okay, on the other side of failure is success if you keep on going. Last slide, or the slide before. Okay, so I want to say the last point is, if you are going to be part of an entrepreneur, one of the things that I've learned is you have to have non-negotiables. Non-negotiables are the things that I need to get through every single day or every single week to make the rest of my life possible. For me, my non-negotiables are 2 things. I must have my devotional time and I must work out. If I do those 2 things, everything else is possible. I love running, and so I try to get in like a couple miles on my treadmill every week, right? So that's it. Set up your non-negotiables and build the rest of your life and your business on top of that. What's going to happen, like our Trinidadian friends say, other people who don't have a process in place, they're going to come, they're going to boil up like Badgie and boil right back down. I think that's how they say it, right? They're not going to stay around, but you be consistent, you walk in your gifting, you be about offering the world something that it needs, and you can make it. And so, yeah, we've come to the end of it. I think I just have one more thing, the exercise, those kinds of things. And just to tell you that you can connect with me the following places. I'm at Lisa M. Dublin everywhere. So I know I've taken up more time than I'm supposed to, so we're going to stop here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dublin. I didn't want to interrupt you at all because you were on a roll and the wealth of information you were sharing, we could not interrupt that. So I hope that everyone felt the same as I do, that we are excited to engage with you, have a discussion with you, ask you questions so that we can pick away at your brilliance and learn more about how we can become more digital, because I love the digital space as well. So I want to invite persons to turn on their cameras because, as I said before, we want to make this Q&A session as interactive as we possibly can. We want to be able to see you. This is our final series within the CLIP speaker series, and we want to be able to see you. We've been journeying together for the past 3 seasons, and now we have the last one today. So we'll definitely love to see all of you. I will kickstart the first set of questions. And if anyone would like to ask a question, please just raise your hand and we will invite you to unmute your mic and then you can ask your questions live. So we skipped over the introductory question, but that was fine. But just tell us, when did you start your business? So when did you first get into business and how long have you been in business?
So I started my first business was in 2008. So I think I've been in business for 15 years, and it was called Optimum Success Strategies in St. Lucia. It's registered there, and I re-registered it here only last like 2020. Yeah. And it was a training business. I started off as an image consultant, you guys, but you can't come and tell Caribbean people about, oh, you need to wear invisible panty line. Oh my gosh, nobody wanted to hear that. So what I did was that I segued into like training, customer service experience and so on. I went right out on the radio and stuff and began to do my thing and started doing seminars and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Absolutely. So my next question, and everyone in the audience, please do, if you don't want to say your questions out loud, you can drop them in the chat. We'll read them out for you. But if you can, we definitely want to hear your voice and see you. So please raise your hands if you do have a question. But in the meantime, tell us, Ms. Dublin, looking back, is there any advice you would have given yourself when you graduated with your first degree in order to lessen the lows in your life?
Yeah, you know what? So my background, my bachelor's is in English literature and Spanish. And my master's, I have a Master of Arts in Literature and the MBA. So you realize what's missing there, you guys. I know you guys are science people here, so that too is missing, but the financials of business and what money means, that kind of just skipped over me. And so I had a lot of learning to do where that is concerned. And I feel like I would have taken courses about financial literacy and how to do finances, you know, in a business very early, because that kind of stumped us in our first business. Yeah.
Yes, and so Ms. Boyce said that you definitely need an hour or more for your presentation. So then we know that we're safe. So everyone was okay with you going over time. So I'm very happy for that. Our next question for you is, do you think successful entrepreneurs need to have a specific type of innate mindset or character trait, or can they be built and cultivated? And if there is something specific, then tell us, you know, what do you think that is?
All right. So so because we are all from the Caribbean, I don't even know if this one is in it or if it's just because of our environment. But you see, resilience, you need that. You need to be, and I take it from, like, my analogy is always like, I don't know about where you grew up, but like where I grew up was like in like the inner city in St. Lucia. You didn't even have sidewalks. I went back home earlier this year to do a speaking thing for Parliament. You don't even have sidewalks like on my street. Oh my gosh, jump in the bush. Okay. So when I come here and I see a road, a street that's big enough for cars, bicycles, and pedestrians, I'm like, oh my gosh. And one, I don't even know that's possible. But what it does is because I know how to survive with less, when stuff like COVID comes, I'm not going to crumble. I'm going to look at it as an opportunity. And so for us in the Caribbean, it's already built in because there's scarcity. There's not enough in many cases. And so that resilience is not something for us to lament, but for something for us to pick out the opportunities like we are accustomed of doing. You didn't have milk, so you found something else. It was orange leaf tea, it was something. These are transferable skills to business. So when it goes tough and that product does not work, switch it around and find another one. You're accustomed of doing it in your personal life anyway. So that's the first one. And let me tell you, like, I feel like there are 1,000 people like me in the Caribbean who can think. We've been taught to consume. And like the Caribbean kind of almost punishes you for being a producer and not a consumer. And the way that you get out of being a consumer is to withdraw from just taking in stuff and take time to think. Go for a walk and think, what if? Brainstorm on a piece of paper and say, what if? There's a model I didn't have time to bring in, but I use all the time. And it's that scamper model. So my first product in the Caribbean was telebatteries. And it was, oh my gosh, I don't want to go there. But we developed the product of television obituaries in St. Lucia. And there was a lot of legal whatever because it was kind of stolen from us. But what I did was to take a voice product and to put pictures to it. You see how you change it around? That does not come from being at every party. Now, my mother would never have let me go in the first place. But what I'm saying is that every single one of us in the Caribbean, because we are still in almost a pristine kind of environment, go and take a walk and see what there is to see. See how with your thoughts you can be like, how can I be Pinky and the Brain? And how can I take over the world? And I think thinking is one of the things that we have. And as a business owner, you need to be creative that way. So creativity and and resilience. Yeah. I have more, but I'll stop because I want to hear your questions. Yeah.
Yes, and we do have a question from Miss Hanson, and she's asking, how do you measure your growth in a digital landscape, and how are you able to detect the specific things that work?
Okay, so a couple markers, very good. So for me, like even if I have a lot of content, my following on Instagram is not very big. On Facebook, it's okay because of my age, like most of my people are on Facebook. But I'm sure there are young people here who don't even know what Facebook is about, right? I know that. But one of the ways to measure is by the following, okay? The biggest measure in the digital landscape as an entrepreneur, you are an entrepreneur to make money, you guys. You're not there. If you're not making money, that's a charity. That's a different business model. Okay. You come to make money, you come to get the bag. And I'm a Christian and I make no bones about it. You know why? Because the same Bible that says the love of money is the root of all evil, it also says money is a defense and money answers all things. So, and God gives me the power to get wealth. So what am I doing with what he has given me? Okay. So that's the first measure. The first measure is, are you making money? The second measure is check your stats online in terms of you are in the digital space. The markers are followers, engagement. The markers are unique visitors, etc. You need to be checking those things regularly. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Brilliant. And so we have someone here ready to kickstart the vocal
Mhm.
question. So Miss Rahim, welcome. And you can unmute your
Mhm.
mic and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Well, first, Lisa,
Hi.
I must commend you on your amazing presentation. I was busy writing notes.
Thank
I'm very
you.
happy to hear.
Thank
It is
you.
quite encouraging as I
Mhm.
too am a life coach, trainer, speaker, with my focus on youth.
Mhm.
And I'm also a Spanish teacher, and I see you also majored in Spanish, so we have
All
some
right.
things in
Some
common.
stuff in common. Yeah. Nice.
I do, sorry, I do believe that I was meant to be here today because of your words. Because you know that thing about failing. I have been told that I'm resilient. I have not reached the 100 K yet, but I know I will get there. Uh,
Yeah.
the point that you made, and I think it's really important for all of us about recognizing that when you made the decision to be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
you are making money. it's about making money, and more than that, you talked earlier about discovering what your passion is, your God-given gift,
Talents. Yeah.
and to say that it's almost like if you have an obligation because it's a gift
It,
that came from God to you to work. Earning the money can help you to even reach more people, do more things. So I think I am over the phase of, oh gosh, I need to just give charity all the time alone.
mm-hmm.
Um, so there really isn't a question except that I would really love to make contact with you and take
Oh,
your
yeah.
advice about getting getting in contact with
Yes. For sure.
mentors to see what you've done. And I did see a big change that happened in a positive way during COVID, and because this is where I sit every day and I do all of my business online. So thank you
Yeah.
so
Nice.
much for all that you've shared.
Yeah, no problem. You said your clientele is youth. You
Yes,
deal with
yes,
youth.
yeah,
Okay, all right. So because like the ideal client, just for everybody, Alden, I see your hand. The ideal client. One of the things I've learned, you guys, and it's a hard pill to swallow. But the reason, remember, I said, okay, you're in business to make money.
yes,
One feature of your ideal client is that that is the person that can pay. Okay. Like
right.
don't even you there to make money. Everything else is charity. So
Yeah.
that is why for me, I could coach. I have my free group, the To All the Girls Success Club, and I do training and coaching sessions in there all the time. I'm very aware that my people, the average, Caribbean person, coaching will not be the first thing that's on their mind, even though coaching, as far as I'm concerned, can change their life. Okay.
Hmm.
So there's an obligation to help my people, but I understand I have to go after a clientele that can pay me. So that's why I have my free stuff like Basement Chronicles for those who can't pay. Some hoping someday you'll get the energy from what I say to be able to move forward. But then you have to create a product that's only for the people who can pay you, because that is what business is about. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah. I hope we connect after.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Alden?
Absolutely. And
Yes.
so we want to hand it over as well. We have another question here from Mr. Alden. So you
Yeah.
please unmute your mic and ask your question.
Yeah.
Yes. Good evening. Again, thank you
Hi.
for your presentation. Definitely, I've learned a lot. I see that I've already started to read some of the books that you've recommended, so I know I have a bit more to look up. Well, my question mainly is that I want to pursue in a higher degree, but out of the region, overseas, preferably in Europe. And I also see like opportunities for me to start a business. I think I can like transition into a virtual space, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just I'm not too sure how do I manage that, or if
Oh,
I'm
with what?
capable like working on that business while at school, because it'd be a master's that I'll be doing. I don't know if I should wait, if I should just go in and start that now, kind
Okay.
of on the
What's
fence.
the business about? What's the business about?
It's like using tech, mainly blockchain, at least starting with smaller businesses,
Mm-hmm.
implementing it and helping them, I guess, be a bit more secure with their ledgers, these types of things.
Okay.
So, you know, I know I can do that in a virtual sense, but I know obviously I have to handle clients and dealing with all these things. I don't know if I should just wait after I do the studies and then start that, or if I could start during the studies. That's
Okay. Have you started studying?
not yet. I do
Okay.
plan to do it next year.
When? Next year? Okay. So
Mm,
between this year, next year, when fall, September next year?
yeah,
Oh, so
good.
you have a whole year, right? You have a year.
Okay.
Hmm?
Mhm,
You have a year. Okay. And Alan, you look very young. Okay. So I'm 47, 3 children, day job plus this. Okay. So
mhm,
you don't look 47.
mhm,
What I'm saying is, while in your youth work, you have 1 year to work with, right? You don't know, maybe you
mhm,
can work so well that you can put those clients that you can get on retainer, you can put them on retainer and just do certain things for them while you go off to school. And you still, I'm
mhm,
sure if it's blockchain technology, it's online, isn't it?
mhm.
It's digital technology. So why don't you, for the next year, make a plan? What do you want to do? What's the purpose of this business? One of the things, if you go off and read that book, Think and Grow Rich, it will literally tell you to get a figure in your mind. How much money do you want to make? And it breaks down desire into 6 steps. And I am a hungry student. I don't really care, people, because the way I've gotten where I've gotten is to follow what the people who were there before me did. Okay. So when they tell me repeat how many times a day, Lisa will sit down and repeat how many times a day. You guys, I am so thing about this. You know what this is? This is a clicker. Okay. A clicker just simply goes like this. Every time you say it, it just counts. It just counts. And in the book, this is not in the book. I learned this from somebody else. So one of the things that you can do as an entrepreneur is you take from different sources. So I've taken from spiritual, personal development, literature, to put it together to create a thing that's only mine. You can do the same thing with your own things, right? So what I'm saying is, be earnest. Be earnest. There's money to be made. If we can make money, we can help our people. We can increase the GDP of the country. We don't all have to go to government. Government will come to us. My entire dream, once I've set up, return to the Caribbean, not to live, but to set up a center for those women who I know can be great coaches, and from taking care of their children at home, they can have clients all over the world. We can service the world because we have resilience and we have those things. So all that, what I'm saying to you, you are not at school yet. Work while you have time. You are young. Go after a thing. Go after a thing so deeply that that's all you see. And what you can never tell that in setting up the business, you can get the funds that you need to fund the school and to keep at school. I'm in a coaching community where a girl just graduated with her master's, I think, and she's a 500K earner as a coach, coaching children in SATs and so on. She worked during her thing. But what happens is we have to have the same kind of work ethic and not be afraid to go after the bag. It's not bad. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. It's not the money itself. I always love to make that distinction because I know where we're coming from as a Caribbean people. Okay, hear that.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Saint almost sounds like a St. Lucian last name.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is your granddad Dubson Saint Omar?
Granduncle.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Y'all, that's like royalty family in St. Lucia. They can paint.
Yes, we
nice
can
to
always
meet you.
point out our fellow
Yeah. And I come minding
islanders.
people's business as a Caribbean people asking about it. So who's your mother? Sorry.
So let's go over to our
Yeah.
chat. So we have a few
Mhm.
questions there as well. And
Mhm.
so our next question is from Giovanna, and she's asking, how do you avoid self-sabotage when things start going well consistently?
Yeah, that's a big one. There have been times literally when I've set a price to a client and they have told me yes, and I've literally shut down the computer and ran away. Like, what? Did they said yes? And that's what we talk about self-sabotage. So the way that I've been coached and the way that I deal with it is to spend time expanding your mind. Okay. When you expand your capacity to earn more, more is going to come. It's not going to come on top of you. If I only think I can make $2,000 a month, that's what is going to come. When you spend time seeing yourself, and thinking Grow Rich is what taught me that, you guys. So go there, spend time expanding your mind to see a certain amount coming into your coffers. Do it. I'm telling you, that's how we get out of this. We don't need to spend too much money. When you do that, what happens is when it comes, you already are able to balance it and to expect it. The other thing that I would say is, and I teach clients this, when you're going after a certain amount of money, practice saying your price. A lot of people are afraid to talk about money, aren't we? Because money's bad. But how are you going to buy the clothes that you have on? But so you spend time saying your price over and over again to hear yourself and get accustomed with it, so that when you see yourself as that the person, you become the person who earns that amount of money. So by the time you come out of people, you are already that person. So that's what you're going to attract. That's, for me, It's not law of attraction. It's not any woo-woo stuff. There's God in there. Okay. If you go back, there's a story about in the fourth dimension about the guy Jacob and the speckled sheep. Jacob made the sheep stay in front of the wall looking at the speckled poplars, right? And those sheep, because they saw it, they became speckled as well. What's going on there is the law of attraction. So what if it happened in the Bible, we can do it. You spend time thinking about what you want to earn, becoming the person who earns that amount of money. I'm simply a different person now because of the thinking that has happened. And I should also say that, I don't know if you all are believers here, a lot of prayer and fasting, that 10x is your results. I always put a plug for my God. We'll always do that, because a lot of prayer and fasting literally helps you to be able to be spiritually aware of even things in business. That's, yeah. Okay.
Thank you. That's a good
Okay.
one. That was definitely a good question. She also had a
Yeah.
follow-up question. It says, how do you grow as a speaker besides placing yourself in as many places to public speak as possible? So besides that, how do you grow as a speaker?
Well, speakers speak, runners run, writers write. So I told you I'm in my basement. I'm always walking up and down, like practicing what I presented today. Walk up and down. You need to practice, okay? A speaker will speak up. So I think you literally answered yourself, the person who wrote it, because the way that you learn to public speak is to public speak. So you go out and get gigs for free. All the time that I give like my lives on Facebook and so on, I'm practicing my speaking skills. So by the time I get a paid gig, I'm ready because I'm buoyed by all that experience. And of course, I teach it. So I've had all these years. So go out and look for speaking engagements. Before you do that, however, here are a couple secrets, okay? So you remember when I was saying to you, the level of your compensation, it depends on the need for what you do, your mastery of it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. Now that sounds like it just came from me. At some point, I was using some version of my clicker to be able to say it over and over again. You have to learn those tricks as a speaker, because that is what separates you from people who are going to come and read. The level of your, no, give people the gift of yourself if you want to speak. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, people get paid upwards of $50,000 to give a speaking engagement. Yeah. Can you imagine the gift that God gave you without any fuss? No, you can give people value that they want because of how you presented what you say. Yes, you can do it, but so there's a lot of practice and there's a lot of reaching out, putting yourself out there to speak if that's what you want to do. I hope I answered that question.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so our next question comes in, and it is, what is the most challenging issue you have? Sorry, I'm hearing someone. So what is the most challenging issue you have encountered while working with Caribbean clients?
Okay.
That's the question.
So yeah, this one's a little painful because it hurts me so much. Okay. Our Caribbean people are a lot about what other people think. And so they're afraid to step out and to be seen and to ask to get paid, because you're supposed to be stoosh all by yourself, like money just falls, rain on you. And if you go out and you like work your wares, it means that there's scarcity. But I would not have gotten to that figure if I was not out there putting myself. The one thing that I learned as a coach, and is it Tonya? Tonya, is that how you pronounce your name? Yeah. Yeah. So the one thing I learned in coach school was the way that you make money as a coach is to do three things. Go out and meet people, tell them you're a life coach, and make offers to help them. That's it. The average St. Lucian person, I know about a handful of coaches who are in the shadows in St. Lucia. They spent as much money as I did to get certified, but they're afraid to come out there and to say I'm a coach. No, I will go get the bag because it's not bad, okay? And I will step out and tell people. So the one thing I've had to work on is people believing you have to look stoosh and to break through that mindset to help them. I had a client who came to me for 3 months. So I had started with my business clients at 3 months. I have since extended it, like, you have to work with me for 6 months for me to get you to where you need to be, because you're coming from so far back. So she had her nice job, whatever, a cush job. She could not even put her face on Facebook or on her Instagram page for people to know her, because her work employees would know that she has another job. Who the hell cares? Go and get your bag. That means you're making more money than them. That's exactly what it means. Okay? But we had to break through that mindset. She's also very spiritual. So the reason I'm able to quote those scriptures is because I use them so much with her. So 1 month, no kind of just massaging the mindset, going back and forth. What would people say? Oh my goodness, right? Month 2, month 3, it came to the end of our paid session and I had not gotten results from my clients. And I always say, I will work with you until you get the results, because that's why you paid me, right? And so I was like, we're going to keep on going. Okay, I know you don't have any more money to pay me, but you're getting the result. You know what this woman broke at? When I say broke at, what I'm talking about is the mindset at which she opened up her first paying accounting client, $1,500 a month. And when she started, she was trying T-boutique things, like going to her braider, her nail tech, to ask for $600. Of course, the nail tech said no. Nail tech can't even support herself. You think nail tech will take her money and give you? No. So we kept on working. We kept on confessing. We kept on working on the mindset, putting things in place. The day came when she went to a session, some other session, and she managed to say to people that she had a business. And then somebody came up to her after she set up her meeting, met the guy, told him what she needed, bam, $1,500 a month. And I spoke to her just the other day, because she's no longer a client, because friend is good now. And she's like, yeah, so I have two clients. So I have 2 jobs. So I thought she was talking about her day job plus this other person. No, Missy's talking about the fact that she has since gained another client since leaving me and going on her own. You know why, you guys? The mindset is now different. She sees herself as the person who can earn that amount. It's coming in. Yep. So that's, for me, it is the mindset of, what do people think about me if I go out and make money? That's that's the deepest challenge dealing with Caribbean clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we have Giovanna asking another question. We're happy to answer.
Yes.
So her question is, how do you make money from your digital economy? As you mentioned, your following on platforms besides Facebook are not that large.
Yeah.
So do you use it mainly as a marketing tool in order to make money?
Yeah. How do I make money? Okay, so I have offers. So my 2 programs, that the Speak with Confidence program, that's an offer. I offer it to people. So most of what I do is come, like, there's a saying that when people know you, like you, when people know you, like you, and trust you, they will buy from you. Okay. So all of the lives and so on. I mean, I love talking, so I could talk my head off all day, but a lot of that is targeted. The more I become top of mind, I'm pretty sure when people think of, like, I need somebody to coach me for speaking, for interviews, they think of me, I'm top of mind awareness. They call it TOMA. So TOMA is, you keep on coming out there, you keep on being in people's face. So when they do need you, they know where to go. But here's the thing that I've realized, it might be the Christian part of me and what the work God has been doing in my heart. It's not just mercenary, because if it was mercenary, people would know. You can't just come and put on a fake smile and think you're going to get, no, you have to dig deep, especially as a coach. Dig deep, find a way to help people. When you see, like, there was just a lady in St. Lucia who went, I think, like, she had a mental breakdown and it was very public. And my first thought is, behind the scenes, I texted somebody, does she need a coach? I want to coach her for free, right? There's that thing in me that I'm going to help you no matter what. And even people who do consults with me and don't take the job, I still send them stuff after, because it's like, okay, it wasn't the right fit for you, but I need you to know that literally, as much as I want to make the money, you need to win. Like, here are resources, go and win on your own if you can, right? So yeah, if that answers the question. So I make offers. So even while I come live, I send out a newsletter. I'm trying to make it more regular because the other big secret in all of this, you know, where most of the money is a list. So I'm always putting out something free to get people's emails addresses. And even though it's only about 30% of your email list that's going to open what you take, that 30%, it's almost like you are knocking on their door and they opened. And when they open that door, they are more willing to hear what you have to say. Okay. So I always make offers. So my 2 offers right now, well, I'm just doing the coaching for now, but I'm getting ready to go back and offer Speak with Confidence here in Canada in corporate, like go out and do it as seminars as well, and then come back online and do it. But you have to make offers. If you don't make offers, people are there like, I like you. What, you just come in and talk? No, I would buy from you. What do you have to offer? So you have to have things that you want people to buy, t-shirts. That's how you make the money. Yeah. Makes sense, Joanna?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Have you considered in starting a newsletter? Oh, I have a weekly newsletter that I send to people on my email list. And what I do, I realize, and you guys, this came to me while praying. I saw the thing. I honestly, like, that's why I love God, because he gives you ideas. God is like your CEO, chief chief executive orders. I learned that from a Christian lady who was doing she's a multi-millionaire and she loves God, and she says, make God your CEO and go and get chief executive orders from him. And literally, I saw that the newsletter, you put it together with love. You put the things that you want in there. You know, when you put a little package together for people that you love and you send that out to people, if you do it in love and not from scarcity, you will get the return. So the other thing is, don't work out of, I need the money. People smell, you know how a dog smells fear on you? Work from, I am going to get my best clients and they're going to pay me a premium price because I deserve it and I can solve their problems. And if that's not you, I am willing to let you go. It just wasn't meant to be.
Mhm.
Okay. Yep.
I think that is
Yeah.
a beautiful place to
Yes.
wrap up our Q&A session. And as a surprise to our audience today, I know that Miss Dublin has a pop quiz for our audience. So over to you with the pop quiz for the audience today. We're
Okay.
hopeful,
All
yes, that they
right.
can remember what you
No
said.
problem. Okay, you guys. So, oh my gosh, look at this. So this is my book, my novella. It's called How George Jones Saved Christmas. And I decided, is there anybody whose name is Stephanie here? Is there a Stephanie or middle name Stephanie here? Nobody has a middle name Stephanie here? No? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but so I'm going to offer this book to anybody who can answer this question. I'll sign it. So I'm not famous yet, but I intend to be. So one day it will be worth a lot of money. So I'm going to sign it and autograph it, and I will post it to whoever gets the question right first. Okay. And the question is, are you guys ready? Get ready, get ready, get ready. So you have to get it in first and you have to get it right. Are you ready, Crystal? You think we can do this?
So tell
Yep.
everyone first how they answer the question. So we want them to
Yes.
drop their answer in the chat. So whoever
Yes.
answers correctly first,
First,
then
yes.
that person is the winner. So drop your
Right.
questions. Get ready to type your answer.
Yes, great. Okay, so clear instructions. Thank you, Crystal. That was very clear. And the question is, how much is the digital economy worth in today's day and age? I gave that figure. How much is the digital economy worth? Da, 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 da. Let's do our Jeopardy. Ooh, okay. Oh my goodness. There we go. Yeah, we have a winner. You see it, Crystal?
Yes, I'm seeing the
Tanya.
responses.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's $4.5 trillion. Yay, Tanya. Okay, so
Yes.
we're gonna connect. So you just got a copy of my novella. I hope you like reading. I wrote this when I got laid off right here at the university. I was like, what? No, I'm gonna write a book. So
So
this is my novella.
join in giving a round of applause to Tanya. You can do so in the reactions or just thank you so much for
Yeah.
the pop question. Can you imagine $4.5 trillion worth of money being exchanged in this digital economy. So I'm really hopeful that persons are thinking about getting into this space and taking your admonition to get their thoughts together, get their ideas together, and get their business up and running.
Absolutely.
And so we want to circle back to the polling questions that we had earlier and kind of like gauge, what we thought earlier to what we now think about those same questions. So when we started off, we said that what kind of support or resources do you believe? Oh, so let me share the results. Sorry, forgot. Yes. So what kind of support and resources do you believe would be most beneficial for young individuals in the Caribbean to enhance their personal resilience and well-being? And mental health counseling was the top response. I mean, that is really and truly a brilliant response in terms of, what we've heard today and just understanding that mental health issues has gone for such a long time without being observed, recognized, and treated. I'm really, really happy to see that that is the top response. So I know that the persons in the room understand what's happening in our communities in the Caribbean. And our follow-up question, as I scroll down, was, what would deter you from seeking out the support of mental health professionals? And so the top response on that was, they aren't readily available and private professionals are very expensive. Trailing behind that was the fear of what people may say. And I know Ms. Dublin, you mentioned a lot about that, dealing with Caribbean clients that, sometimes we think that, persons, we follow the opinions of people, or we're very cognizant then of what people think of us. And so as a people, we would definitely have to address these things and seek out professional help. And hopefully there are some persons who are inspired to get into the space of becoming mental health professionals, because we know that there is a scarcity around the world, in fact, for mental health professionals. So Ms. Dublin, I would like to hand it over to you for you to share your final words and thoughts before we wrap up this evening.
Okay, thank you so much, you guys. You've been such a welcoming audience. Thank you for just listening and taking part. And so I want to leave you with a question in coach form. I want to ask you, what do you want? What do you want? And if even after the session, you want to just write down quickly, what do you want in life? Can you start there? Many of the things that we want, we don't even actualize or think about, because we don't even stop to think that they are possible. And if you start from what you want, the next step is to do that desire exercise and figure out a way for you to be able to get to what you want in life. I know I've given a lot of information tonight, but I hope you take away something that will help you to start from what I have inside of me is valid and valuable to the world, and I can offer it in some form or fashion. So thank you for listening. Yep.
And so if anyone here has been journeying with us through this entire 4-part series, can you share some of your key takeaways and thoughts about the session? Anyone want to give us some feedback in terms of what they have learned, some things that they appreciate about it? We would love to hear some words from you about your experience in the CLIP Speakers series.
Again, good evening, everybody. I was not here for every session, but for the few sessions that I definitely learned a lot. Especially tonight, I've gained a lot more confidence, I'd say, when it comes to approaching what it is that I want from life. The business that I want to start, the other things that I'd like to take on. I know that this session, the last session as well, when they were talking about financing, I believe that it's definitely been a great aid when it comes to knowing how I should tackle it, how I should go about setting up things in the last series as well. One of the speakers to give a nice plan as to how to begin when it comes to your entrepreneurial ventures. So I've learned quite a bit, and definitely looking forward to the recording so I can learn even more from the few that I did not get to see. And well, learning back from here as well.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing so much from you, Mr. Alden. So we will keep track of you as you continue to progress in your blockchain business. So we're looking out for it now that you've put it out in the world. So thank you so much to everyone who was here with us live. Thank you for being engaging. Thank you for your questions and everything else. So we have come to the end of tonight's session. The Clip Speaker Series has now culminated, but before you log off, you can also drop your comments and key takeaways in the chat if you didn't want to share live. We would love to hear just some of the things that resonate with you, whether it was in this session or previous sessions. Feel free to share that as well. We want to thank all the entrepreneurs who made this Clip Speaker Series possible. And so we started off with Mr. Joshua Forth and Miss Christina Pooler. They spoke on the topic of climate smart agriculture. So thank you to them both. Then we moved on to the second edition. We had Dr. Ashley John and Mr. Elijah James, and they spoke on climate adaptation technologies. Our third session was with Miss Lisa Perch and Miss Telly Valerie Unu, and they spoke on funding innovation for climate resilience. And tonight we culminated with our motivational speaker, Miss Lisa Dublin, rounding us off in the Clip Speaker Series, speaking about our resilient people and resilient Caribbean. This will not be possible without our supporters. So we would love to thank the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, the Strengthening Disaster Resilience in the Eastern Caribbean Project, and of course, the Caribbean Youth Livelihood Internship Program for hosting this Clip Speaker Series. Thank you for everyone who has been here journeying with us over the past 4 sessions. We trust that today's presentations and our previous presentations were impactful and allow you to think more about getting your business to the next level or finding more opportunities for you to do the things that you love and want to do to contribute to our Caribbean region. So my name is Crystal Legrand, and I thank you for being here with us. Have a great evening and good night.
The time is now for regional governments to develop and implement disruptive and forward-thinking program concepts, policies, and platforms that fast-track the development of a Caribbean technology economy. At the core of this, my friends, transformation must be the sustainable maximization of our most highly valued assets. You know them, and I know them. Our people, our ideas, our geography, our climate, yes, our climate, and our culture.